Hello, my name is Milan Sharma, and I'm going to tell you some news today that Hillary Clinton selects a pro TPP and fracking advocate to set up her White House, which is her, uh, which is set up, which is used to set up her new administration. Should she win in November, her presidential transition team. She named former Colorado Democratic Senator and Interior Secretary Ken Salazar to be the chair of the presidential transition team. This includes identifying, selecting, and vetting candidates for over 4,000 presidential appointments. Now, everyone knows that her rhetoric was against the TPP and fracking. However, as Secretary of State, she's supported fracking and around the world. She supported TPP 45 times. We all know this. And most people who look at her record don't really trust her because 67% of the country doesn't trust her and think she's lying and untrustworthy. So this is just another more evidence that she's lying to our faces. And then they wonder why there's Bernie or Busters. As Senator Salazar was widely considered as a reliable friend to the oil, gas, and ranching mining industries, not environmentalists. As Interior Secretary, he opened the Arctic Ocean for oil drilling and oversaw the botched response to the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Since returning to the private sector, he has been an ardent supporter of the TPP while pushing back against curbs on fracking. So he openly supports the TPP, just saying he's not rhetorically go against it like Tim Kain is. Tim Kain says he's against it for now, but he voted for it, the fast track of it, a couple years ago. That was Tim Kain that voted for a couple years ago. So let's look at this. The TPP would enhance the ability of corporations to sue to overturn environmental regulations. But Salazar helped a pro-TPP front group, the Progressive Coalition for American Jobs, argue the opposite. And if you don't know what this is, the ability of corporations to sue, overturn environmental regulations, I'll give an example. Let's say the U.S. implemented a law to decrease carbon emissions. Let's say a carbon tax, for example. If TPP were to be passed, foreign corporations could sue the United States, which is ExxonMobil, for example, that this law is affecting future profits. And they could take this case to private tribunals, which would destroy our sovereignty. And to continue with the article, in November 2015, USA Today op that Salazar co-wrote with Bruce Babbitt, the two men argued that the TPP would be the greenest trade deal ever by promoting sustainable energy. Both Salazar and Babbitt cited their former positions as interior secretaries to boost their credibility. So they both argue that the agreement would protect the state's scenic beauty, meaning the nature, and quote, and as a state rich with natural wonder and a long history of conservation, Colorado can be proud that the TPP includes the highest environmental standards of any trade deal in agreement in history, which is not true whatsoever. Just as this is called ISDS when corporations could sue. Where is it? Where corporations could sue to overturn the environmental regulations, so it actually would not help with the environment. So the article continues. Shortly after leaving his post at the Obama administration, Salazar appeared at an oil and gas industry conference to argue in favor of fracking. We know that from everything we've seen, that's not a single case where hydraulic fracking has created an environmental problem for anyone, Salazar told the attendees. So he thinks that hydraulic fracking has not created any problems for the environment. But there's scientific evidence that there has been problems in the environment, and that it does cause great destruction. It causes earthquakes sometimes, and sometimes it affects water. So he included the vice president of BP America, which is obviously a oil industry. The EPA acknowledged in 2015 that fracking has contaminated drinking water wells. So this right here, I don't have to read any further. This right here eliminates his argument that has not created a single case of environmental problems for anyone. So that just eliminates that argument right there. And methane, a gas with a climate impact 86 times that of carbon dioxide, 86 times, is known to leak from fracking gas infrastructure, known to leak, which obviously causes major problems. Salazar is on the leadership team of business group in Colorado fighting against a pair of ballot initiatives that could limit fracking. So he's fighting this. He's not part of the ballot initiatives that is for fracking. I mean, he is, but the ballot initiatives are against fracking. The Denver Post referred to the group as the quote political equivalent of a tested military reserve until that the Denver Chamber of Commerce calls into action when it believes that business interests in the state face as a serious threat. Obviously, because when you take business into account, you want it to make the most money, and decreasing carbon emissions will not make you as much money as not doing that. Environmentalists are alarmed, as expected. If Clinton plans to effectively tackle climate change, the last thing her team needs is an industry insider like Ken Salazar. Salazar's track record illustrates time and again that he is on the side of big industry and not the people. Greenpeace USA Democracy Campaign Director Molly Dorozensky said in a statement. And this is what happens when there's super PACs in the election cycle. That they get money from wealthy businesses and big corporations and oil industries, and then this is what happens. Once she puts that person in power, and that affects policies. Salazar currently works as partner at Wilmer Hale, a DC-based law and lobbying firm. His clients are not public, but his firm lists his job as giving policy advice to national and international clients, particularly on matters at the intersection of law, business, and public policy. Staff at the firm had been involved in TPP negotiations. So the corporations are the only ones that are actually involved in negotiations. They don't have any people like us in there, hardly at all. I saw in some Green website, a Green Party website that in Europe, that over 90, I think about 90% of the participants were from corporations, and 4% were from unions. And then you wonder why people are against it. The majority of Americans are against this deal. Members of the presidential transition team are not required to disclose their finances, meaning we may never know if and how much Salazar is paid, keyword there, for all of the advocacy outside his salary at Wilmer Hale. Salazar has long been criticized for his connections to the industries he regulates. Obviously, if you're a boss who wants to make money and you're trying to regulate that industry in which you own, obviously you're not going to regulate it well. Just like how President Obama has the what's it called? Goldman Sachs executive in the regular in the cabinet for regulating banks from Wall Street, which is exactly contradictory. So even, quote, even as BP continues to spew oil in unfathomable quantities into the Gulf, Salazar was waiving environmental reviews and approving new wells in the Gulf of Mexico, which basically means that F you, we don't care, we want to make our profits go up, and that's all they care about, really. So this is from The Intercept, written by Zali Gilani and Naomi Lechance. It was written today. So if you like this article, please look at it and review it yourself more in depth. And if you have any questions, comments, please comment that in the section below. You follow me on Twitter. The link will be in the description, and this article will be in the description as well. Please like my video and click to subscribe. And thanks for listening. I really appreciate it.